Hello, this is Krystal, and thank you for joining me for this week's First Chapter Friday. Today I will be reading from the second book in the Percy Jackson series, Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters by Riordan. This is in preparation for next week's teen program, where we are viewing Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters and doing a trident craft. So if you have any teens in your family that you want to share that program with, please go ahead and do so. We'll be meeting in the auditorium at 4 p.m. Chapter 1. My best friend shops for a wedding dress. My nightmare started like this. I was standing on a deserted street in some little beach town. It was the middle of the night. A storm was blowing. Wind and rain ripped at the palm trees along the sidewalk. Pink and yellow stucco buildings lined the street, their windows boarded up. A block away, past a line of hibiscus bushes, the ocean churned. Florida, I thought. Though I wasn't sure how I knew that. I'd never been to Florida. Then I heard hooves clattering against the pavement. I turned and saw my friend Grover running for his life. Yeah, I said hooves. Grover is a satire. From the waist up, he looks like a typical gangly teenager with a peach fuzz goatee and a bad case of acne. He walks with a strange limp, but unless you happen to catch him without his pants on, which I don't recommend, you never know there was anything unhuman about him. Baggy jeans and fake feet hide the fact that he's got a furry hindquarter and hoops. Grover had been my best friend in 6th grade. He'd gone on this adventure with me and a girl named Annabeth to save the world, but I hadn't seen him since last July, when he set off alone on a dangerous quest, a quest no satire had ever returned from. Anyway, in my dream, Grover was hauling goat tail, holding his human shoes in his hands the way he does when he needs to move fast. He clopped past the little tourist shops and surfboard rental places. The wind bent the palm trees almost to the ground. Grover was terrified of something behind him. He must have just come from the beach. Wet sand was caked in his fur. He'd escaped from somewhere. He was trying to get away from something. A bone-rattling growl cut through the storm. Behind Grover, at the far end of the block, a shadowy figure loomed. It swatted aside a street lamp, which burst in a shower of sparks. Grover stumbled, whimpering in fear. He muttered to himself, "Have to get away. Have to warn them." I couldn't see what was chasing him, but I could hear it muttering and cursing. The ground shook as it got closer. Grover dashed around a street corner and faltered. He'd run into a dead-end courtyard full of shops. No time to back up. The nearest door had been blown open by the storm. The sign above the darkened display window read, "St. Augustine Bridal Boutique." Grover dashed inside. He dove behind a rack of wedding dresses. The monster shadow passed in front of the shop. I could smell the thing. A sickening combination of wet sheep wool and rotten meat, and that weird sour body odor only monsters have, like a skunk that's been living off Mexican food. Grover trembled behind the wedding dresses. The monster shadow passed on. Silence, except for the rain. Grover took a deep breath. Maybe the thing was gone. Then lightning flashed. The entire front of the store exploded, and a monstrous voice bellowed, "Mine!" And if you would like to know what happens next, you can check this book out. We have it in about every format: ebook, audiobook, physical book, movie. We've got all the titles of Percy Jackson, very popular series. Please join me here next week as I read from book 20 in the Doctor Who book series. Yes, there's a book series for Doctor Who. The Pirate Loop. So I will see you next Friday. Have a great week.